Hello crafty friends, I'm Lien from Studio Kato and I'm so happy to be back on the Syberia Designs YouTube channel today with this fun poppy card. Now this I made for the Essential Die Cutting magazine, which is such an honor. So I thought I would share the video. The magazine I think came out yesterday. If I can find it, I will leave a link down below as well. Now for this card I'm going to use the Cindy Lou's Poppies stamp and coordinating die set. I am not going to do any coloring on this card, so this was quite a quick card to put together. I am just going to stamp these onto some pieces of colored cardstock, and you can see I save all of my scraps. These are by far not the tiniest scraps that are still in my stash, so I usually use all of my paper up. I am going to stamp 3 different flowers on 3 different colors of cardstock, and I'm just going to use Versamark ink for this. The great Versamark ink, you can just do some tone-on-tone stamping. Actually, that would be really fun on this card as well, but I want a bit of a more noticeable outline, so I'm going to white heat emboss these flowers onto that colored cardstock, and you don't really have to add anything to it. I will, of course, because I don't know when to stop when making a card, but you can stop at the heat embossing, and that would be a really fun and bold look, especially if you have some great colored cardstock at hand. Now I am going to add a little bit of ink blending to it, but I'm getting ahead of myself. So I'm just going to sprinkle on some white embossing powder from Wow, and once all of them are covered in embossing powder, I start up my heat tool. I leave it to heat up for a little bit, and then I bring it to all of that cardstock, so I don't have to have it on my cardstock too long to melt the powder. I really love the Wow embossing powders, especially because their very basic powders come in huge jars. And because I use so much embossing powder, I really appreciate that I don't have to deal with tiny jars all the time. Now I'm going to use my favorite trick here. Because I want to add some ink blending to these die cuts, I am going to tape a piece of tape, sticky side up, on my little craft mat here. This is just a laminated sheet of white cardstock, which is great for ink blending because it's a slick surface. You can easily clean it, and the ink just glides over it and mostly just sticks to your cardstock. I'm going to use ink blending here with Conquer the Ninth and Pinkfish Studio inks. I'm just using some ink blending brushes because those give me the smoothest result, and this is a great and quick way to add some simple shading to these very beautiful and detailed poppy flowers. And you can see I really build up the contrast here. So for this pink, it was a little bit harder, or for one of the pinks, it was a little bit harder. I forgot which one. Because it was already quite dark cardstock, but I do go back in with most of them to really darken it up. I think I used purple in the end to really add some contrast here. This is the Regal Kiss, if I'm not mistaken. So don't be afraid to pull in different ink colors to add some more contrast. If you are using a color that doesn't end up blending well with your cardstock, go over it again with, so for example, for this pink, if I used a purple that didn't go well with my cardstock, go over the ink blending once again with pink, and it will blend out a little better, and it will just give you a better result if you're having trouble. But I didn't have any with these cardstocks and this ink. Now for my background, I am going to add in a little bit of blue. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this was mostly because for the magazine I created a card based on a color scheme that they provided, and I completely forgot that I also had to have blue in there. I had planned on the yellow, you can see that off to the side already, but I had completely forgotten the blue in my design. So I thought it would be great to add just a strip of blue to my background. The thing is, I decided on a die cut background. So I taped that blue piece of cardstock on top of a thick white piece of cardstock, and then I'm going to die cut this out with the Tiny Flowers cover die from Syberia Designs. And this cuts really, really small holes in the cover plate. So it's an A2 size panel that you get in the end, just with really small flowers into it. You can see it here. And that is why I glued that yellow piece of cardstock on top of my note card. The yellow is going to shine through those tiny little holes. It doesn't seem like it will have much of an effect before you glue it down, but it really does make a huge difference. And that blue strip worked out so well in the end. Again, I wasn't planning on this, but it gave my flowers a really great piece to land on. So it's a really good grounding, just a fun strip of color there, and it doesn't really add, or it doesn't really distract from the white space that I have going on, because I do like some white space. This little flower arrangement, by the way, is just being held together by some washi tape or purple tape. Anything to just keep those flowers in a fun position that I decided on beforehand. When I play around with die cuts or stamped images like this, once I land on something I like, I quickly take out my tape, or if I have it on hand, I'll use, what is that sticky thing? I forgot what it's called. But anything that will keep them in place so I don't have to try and find the same arrangement later on. The things I'm adding now are small die cuts. These are the classic Foliage from Syberia Designs. They are great foliage dies, because you get, I think, 6 or 8 dies in one set. And they're all very different, and they also all they don't all go in the same direction. And I think that is very important with foliage, because you always have them bend a certain way. And I think if you have a couple that bend a different way, it just adds more to your card. I also added a Hugs die. This is from the Love and Hugs die set. It has a shadow layer and a scripty layer, and I just layered them up a couple of times with white cardstock and a silver die cut layer on top. I'm also adding a sub-sentiment. I have a bunch of sub-sentiments from various different stamp sets already ready for me to use, but I think this is from a Giraffe stamp set, and if I remember correctly, I will leave that below as well. If I was mistaken, I don't know where this is from, and I'm not going to search my stash for just one sentiment. I just added some silver gems as well, and with those silver glittery die cuts, that just adds a really fun touch to this card. I really, really love these poppies from Syberia Designs. The stamp set is called Cindy Lou's Poppies, and I just love them so much, but they can be challenging to color because they are quite big. So just stamping them, white heat embossing them on colored cardstock is a great way to go. I hope you like this video. I hope you like the card. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe to this channel and mine for more of my videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.